What's up everybody, welcome back to another video here at JK Amusements. I know, it's been a long time since I uploaded anything to the channel, but a lot of that has been my own personal burnout. Work's been really hectic, same thing with Jared. Been taking a step back and reevaluating what the channel's going to look like going forward, so that's just where we were at with that. And we wanted to reevaluate the kind of content we would be making and the direction that we'll be shifting in or fine-tuning for channel content going forward. And with that, I think I'm going to hand you off to Jared for a very special announcement.
Thank you for that beautiful transition, Kevin. What's up guys, Jared here. I'm actually in a video for once, albeit for a very short time. Progress is progress. Just wanted to quickly say that going forward, Bill Engvall 007, my Twitch channel, will be rebranded as the JK Amusements Twitch channel. I felt that it would be a much better way for people who are interested in the content we put out to be able to bounce it back and forth more easily. And Kevin and I talked about it where he has been lacking in the gaming side of content, whereas I have been lacking in the video creation side of content. So for the time being, this is the perfect way for us to make up for each other's lacking, faults, doubts. My train of thought is derailing. I'm gonna send this back to you, Kev. Take care, guys.
Thank you so much, Jared. And you guys will be noticing I'm actually shooting on a brand new camera. This is a Canon M50 Mark II. This was a gift from Maddie for our 1-year anniversary, so thank you very much, Maddie. Her channel is Mads, and Maddie, so please go subscribe to her channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate that, guys. Thanks. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So something I wanted to do for this video was I want to make a laptop buyer's guide. And that's because like a lot of us are going back to school, a lot of us are moving to new jobs, or a lot of us are even working remotely, and you need a reliable device. And the device that most people are using, especially when they're moving around a lot like a student in college, are using a device like a laptop. So I just wanted to give you guys a sort of buyer's guide, like what you should look out for when purchasing a new laptop. I'm not going to be shouting out Chromebooks because in my opinion, the hardware in a Chromebook is not enough to support the bare needs that you would need a device to do. Most of them come with 4 gigabytes of RAM and a very cheap CPU, so in my opinion that's just not enough to get the job done. So we are going to be looking at primarily Mac and Windows devices. The first thing you need to understand when shopping around for a laptop is the OS that you're going to be looking at. Your two options are Windows and Mac. If we were on desktop, Linux would be another option, but we're not on desktop. Mac OS is more user-friendly and it is more aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion. Mac OS, you are locked down to the Mac ecosystem, so some apps that would be available on Windows might not be available on Mac. When you're talking about gaming has always been the Windows thing because Apple really hasn't taken gaming seriously and really hasn't made a device that is capable of handling AAA games, because they've made it very clear that gaming is not something that they particularly care about. If you're a gamer, I would say don't buy a Mac. It is going to probably not play a lot of the games that you want it to. So I would say if you're gaming, go for a Windows device. If you need work or general use things, you have a little bit more flexibility. It depends on what you prefer in an OS, what you want it to do. Next thing to consider is your price point. Most budget laptops will come in around under the $600 to $700 range. That's what I would consider to be a budget laptop. I know several $100s is not what most people would consider to be budget friendly, but these are laptops. Laptops are usually pretty expensive devices. Next tier up from that, you have the mid-range area. So that's going to be your like $600 to $1,500 area. That's what I would consider to be mid-range. And again, once you're getting towards the top, like $1,500 area, that's like not really mid-range anymore. Once you get above $1,500, that's what I would classify as the enthusiast or professional laptop area. Those are people who really need a device that is the best available on the market. So that is the sort of thing you're going to be looking at when you have that amount of money to spend on a device. The ones above $1,500 are usually the best for intensive tasks like 3D modeling and video editing. I've seen budget laptops that can do the same thing, but it just takes longer because they're not as fast. You get what you pay for. Now moving into components. You want to have a good CPU. In my opinion, you need to have at least 4 cores for your CPU, and you should have a clock speed of at least 2.8 gigahertz or above. Beyond that, it's really up to you. It's up to your discretion, and it depends on your workload. If you are just using the laptop for school and lightly using it for work, I would say 4 cores is enough to get you by just fine. 2.8 gigahertz, you're good to go. But if you use it for, like, say you're a gamer on the laptop, I would say minimum for gaming these days is 6 cores. I wouldn't recommend 4 cores for gaming. And again, 2.8 gigahertz should be a fine enough clock speed for you to play games on. I would not go for an older model. If you're going AMD, I would not go for a CPU older than Ryzen 4000 series, so 4000 series and newer. And for Intel, I would not go older than 9th gen Intel. So 9th gen and newer when you're talking about Intel. So those are the things to consider when shopping around for CPUs in laptops specifically. Next, we move on to graphics. First, you have to decide whether you want an integrated graphics solution or a dedicated GPU. Dedicated GPUs are not integrated in that it is a separate component in your computer. Kind of speaks for itself. Integrated graphics will always have worse performance than dedicated graphics, but they're more discrete and they're more convenient, and really the only reason you would need a dedicated GPU is if you're gaming, watching a lot of 4K video, if you're doing some of the professional work like I mentioned, like 3D modeling or video editing, then a dedicated graphics card is a must. But if you don't do any of that stuff, then I would say a integrated GPU will serve you just fine on a new laptop. For the generational thing in terms of graphics cards, I would go at least a 1650 mobile and up for NVIDIA's side if you're looking for dedicated graphics, and for AMD I would go a 5500M and up. Next, we have the random access memory. You need at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. 4 gigabytes of RAM these days will not cut it for you. I promise you that. For me personally, I consider the bare minimum random access memory, the bare minimum RAM amount in a laptop or a computer to be 16 gigabytes. That is the bare minimum that I can use and feel like I have enough to go around. If you only use the laptop lightly for school and you only use it lightly for work and nothing else, then 8 gigabytes will serve you just fine. Next, we're moving on to storage. This is another bullet point. Make sure you have a solid state drive in your laptop. If your laptop has just a hard drive, that is a big red flag in 2021 because solid state drives are very cheap for laptop makers. The amount of storage you need in your laptop, that's really at your discretion because only you know how much you're going to install and how much file space you're going to need on this device. I would say the bare minimum I would be comfortable with is 500 gigabytes of SSD storage. Some laptops do have hybrid SSDs and hard drives. They have a solid state drive and a hard drive. Most of the ones will just have a solid state drive these days, especially the ultra thin books. If you don't think you need 500 gigabytes and you can get away with like 256 gigs, remember that your operating system, if you're on Windows or Mac, is going to take up some of your space on that SSD. So make sure that you take that into account when shopping around for storage size. Ports, just make sure that your laptop has USB 3.0. 1 or 2 ports would be a good rule of thumb. If it has 1, I would consider that to be a little bit of a red flag. An HDMI 2.0 port is a good feature. It's not necessary. HDMI 1.4 would be just fine. If it has Type-C on it, that's a big plus as well. But really, again, this is something that can be at your discretion. Another thing you're going to need to consider is what you want the laptop to do. Do you want to be more gaming oriented? What do you want the main focus of the laptop to be? That is going to be the big deciding factor in what device you end up walking away with. What purpose is your device going to be mostly serving? So that is something to consider as well, and that will affect price and every other thing that we've talked about up until this point. There are a few other features such as touchscreen support, fingerprint reader as well, but those are more just convenience things. Me personally, I don't care about either of those things, but again, that's really at your discretion and you can make that decision for yourself. So with that being said, guys, I think this video is all wrapped up, and thank you very much for watching. And going forward on the channel, I'm going to try to make at least 1 video a week. I'm not going to make any promises because I feel the less promises I make, the more expectations don't get dashed, and the channel can only go up from there. So I don't like to make any promises because I'm worried that I won't keep them. I'm going to try to make at least 1 video a week and possibly 2 if I feel up to it. So we'll see how that works out. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you at JK Amusements definitely next week in the next video. Bye-bye.